Shambho, Mahadev, Mahadev, Mahadev. So we explained about Chittam, the power of memory as well as the capacity to retain, retention capacity. How does this happen? How do we understand? Capacity to understand. What is the principle? How do we understand why the animals are not able to understand? Why the human being is able to understand? Animals also understand, only they have got limitation. How does the things all function in this world, universe? How does everything happen? We say it happens. How does it happen? When you look at these things, you will find that your ahankara of yourself, that you are doing things and you can do things, is all will be understood that they are all mithya, they are ajnanam. They are only carrying us towards the darkness, tamas. It is something like the organs function in our body. As soon as the food is taken, the digestive system starts functioning. The heart keeps on functioning. Blood keeps on flowing. Malinam, whatever is unwanted, keeps on excreting whenever necessary. The sleep comes, you wake up, you walk, you do everything, each and every small thing, even fluttering of your eyelid once. Are you doing it? What efficiency do you have to flutter your eyelid? Forget about other things. Do you have any capability of doing it? How does it happen? It happens. We all say explanations are there. We are all talking about the results. It's a nervous system, neurology. What is that? They are all the results. How does it happen? Who is behind that source which makes it function? Which makes your digestive system function? Which makes your eyelid flutter? Which makes your heart function? The same authority, the same unit, the same energy, that's the one which makes you understand, and also that what is understood, retain. How is that? We say that, okay, the cells are storing the memories. What is the function? It's okay, these are all results what we are talking. Cells storing memory. This is the result what you are talking about. Is it not? That it has stored the memory. How is it storing? Where is the storage? Who has created the storage? As the Prakriti is functioning based on the Prakriti Niyama, the law of karma. This Prakriti Niyama, Sanatana Dharma, that which is unchangeable is Sanatana Dharma. In the Prakriti, these Pancha Jada Vastus, how do they function? How the wind blows, how the water has come, like that. Like the Prakriti, when I am taking in a Samashti power, in the Samashti power, all the Jada Vastus, or the objects, what we call it as Jada Vastus, Pancha Bhutas, how do they coordinate themselves? How do they function? Individually, it has no importance in the status of any body or any functions. Combination of all this. Who makes this combination? How does know what is the percentage of Bhutattva, Prithvi Tattva, how much of Agni Tattva, how much of Jala Tattva, how much of Vayu Tattva is necessary for each individual, for each function, for each pravarti? The combination changes. Who determines? Who decides? This source, this intelligence, we can call it as intelligence. This intelligence, what we call this intelligence, which makes everything function, including your dharana, including your understanding and storage. This is not you are doing. If you are doing, why don't you remember everything that what you heard? Why do you remember only something that you heard? How does that something, who chooses that something? Who chooses that something which you remember? So the Upanishad said, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Who has Shraddha? How does this Shraddha come? Who initiates this Shraddha? Why somebody has Shraddha, why someone doesn't have Shraddha? Why even though some people want to have Shraddha, but they are unable to have Shraddha? It is diversified. When it is diversified, it is deteriorated. Shraddha is not there. When it is concentrated on one point, then only the Shraddha is there. How does this happen? How does the Shraddha come? What is the part of the initiative that you can do? How does the initiativeness comes in you? Do you understand what I am speaking? Can any of these things, can you do? We all say yes. We all say yes, it can be done. Then why it is not happening? All the Prakriti, the whole niyama of the Prakriti, whole function of the Prakriti, this intelligence that makes all these things function, with the coordination in the right proportion, right way, right time, for right species, in right intensity, in right methodology, everything takes place, happens only because of prajna, they called it. It is known as prajna. Prajna is also identified as intelligence. I want you to understand that prajna is totally different from the normal intelligence, what we call. The intelligence is a capacity to understand. This intelligence also, what we are talking about intelligence, the capacity to understand, that is Chittam. That's why Chittam is important. It's not a direct meaning that, That's why we explained about Chittam, I think, so much. That intelligence, that Chittam, that Jnanam, or that power of memory, and that memorized is retained, retention, capacity of retention. Everything happens due to prajna. Sradha happens due to prajna. That is why some people are unable to concentrate. Some people are unable to believe. Some people are unable to have the faith. Some do not have Sradha. Even though externally it appears to be expressing Sradha, they do not have the Sradha that is inherent quality of that, you see. Sradha is not an action. Sradha is not a karma. Sradha is a prakriti niyama, it's a principle. No? Sradha is a principle. The action that comes out of Sradha, is that what we call it as puja, seva and things like that. They are all the results of it. How does it happen? It is because of the prajna. What is prajna? Prajna is that when constantly one have the consciousness of executing nishkama karma, based on nishkama karma, when continuously nishkama karma is executed, when there are no karmas and karma phalas are left out, he goes into one principle of dhyanam. When there is no result of karmas, what one will do, let us say. Just imagine a person who doesn't have any expectation of karma phala. He is not thinking about the karma phala, only execution of karma, as Bhagavan said, only execution of karma. The name, it becomes nishkama karma, even though we call it as nishkama karma. He is not doing it. He is not physically executing any karma. Neither the mind nor the sharira is executing any karma. You imagine that situation. At that situation, what will be your status? What will be your mind's status? Today your mind is occupied and preoccupied in karmas. What I have to do next? Tomorrow what will I do? Yesterday what I have done? What am I doing? What should I remember? How to do Shraddha? How to do Bhakti? And what is Bhakti? Or executing some sort of action. Mind is totally busy on all these things which are absolutely based on the karma and expectation of the karma phala. They are all expectations. The mind is preoccupied. Mind is occupied and preoccupied both. For these purposes is why one is not able to identify what will happen when none of these things are there? When the mind is not occupied in the previous karma phala, that's called the prarabdha karma. Neither it is occupied by the present karma. Why? Because he is doing nishkama karma. So he is not occupied by the karma. He might be executing a karma, but he is not occupied by the karma. Means the mind is not busy with doing that karma. When does the mind become busy? When he is doing something, is not. When it is a nishkama karma, when mind has no function, when something is being done, then what is the status of mind? He is neither thinking of what he is doing, nor he is thinking of what he has done, nor he is expecting what he is supposed to get the result of it. If that is the case of the mind, will the mind be occupied or busy with the karma that he is executing? Am I clear? When he is not busy with the karma, what is he busy with? If he is not occupied here, where is he occupied? Where is he occupied with? What is he occupied with? He is occupied with the existence. He is occupied with the Atma. He is occupied with the Prakriti Dharmam. This is called Dharma. This is how Dharmam is understood by the mind. The one who is executing a karma, how does he understand the Dharmam? This is how it is executed. This is known as Dhriti, they said in Sanskrit. They called it as Dhriti is Dharana. From Dharana comes Dharmam. If Dharana is wrong, then the Dharana will be, what is the result of Dharana then? Adharmam. If Dharana is wrong, then what will the mind produce? Adharmam. When it is Dhriti, that is from the prajna, from the intelligence, then the Dharana, when that Dharana will produce Dharmam, then only the classification of Dharmam comes. When the mind is not occupied and preoccupied, when the mind is not executing any karma, sakama karma, when it is executing only nishkama karma, yes, then the dharana comes. And then when the dharana comes, sanatana dharma is established. He recognizes and realizes where the mind is occupied then. The mind, since he has no other function in the jivatma, for the purpose of executing karma or expecting the result of karma or memorizing the previous karma, that's called the prarabdha karma, sancheta karma and the agami karma. When he is not involved in it, he is involved with the sanatana dharma in dhriti dharana and identifying the dharmam. When he identifies the dharmam, then what he identifies? Dharmam is identified as sanatana dharmam. When he is identifying that sanatana dharmam, the consciousness, that intelligence, that is that chittam that comes into the mind is what? Is prajna. There are no flaws in that intelligence. That intelligence, which is known as, in the normal word, we call it as an intelligence to make us understand. This intelligence is the intelligence or the prajna, makes the whole universe function. The wind blows when it is necessary, sun shines when it is necessary. Yes. The liquidification takes place, evaporation takes place. Everything happens, even though the heat is produced, water is there. just by having the heat and the water, we say that automatically it gets evaporated. Yes, we have to go deeper into it. It's not a layman's explanation that anybody knows. Every child knows about it. When the water boils, it evaporates, finished. Molecules are transmitting, the heat conduction takes place from molecule to molecule, and it transmits by molecule, and each particle of water starts evaporating. We call it as a mass evaporation, that's all. This everybody knows. How does this heat converts this molecule into the vapor? Why it should happen? There is a medium also in which these are two objects. One is fire, another is water. One is heat, another is water. There is another binding factor between these two, this combination. Otherwise it cannot function. There has to be a mediator. Who is this mediator? Who transmits this heat into the water? Then only the water can boil. Who makes it boil? Are you getting what I am telling? You have to really understand this principle. Like we have explained this earlier, it's not a new thing. The capacity of the ear is to listen to the voice. That which makes the ear listen, that which makes the mind understand, that which makes the eye see to see. Yes, the eyes cannot see. That which makes the eyes see, who is that? That which makes the ear listen, who is that? It is called the prajna. There has to be that binder, otherwise nothing will. It will remain as two parallel lines. The joining of these two objects, combining these two objects, takes place only when the prajna is there. So anything that is functioning in our body, like I said about the digestive system, or when I am speaking, you are listening, you are thinking, you are memorizing, you are storing the memory, or you are breathing. Yes, there has to be a combination of object and subject. Then only the function will take place. Breathing, only oxygen is not enough. It goes inside, there has to be lung. Then only the lung can function. You have to understand this principle very, very clearly. Then you will not say, I understand. We have explained this before, you remember that? You say, I understand. What do you mean by understand? Who understands this? Do you really understand? This topic I have discussed few classes before. Why we are not able to understand, or why we are able to understand? Both are because of the prajna. And this prajnavan only will become the shraddhavan. That is why one doesn't get the Shraddha. One's ideas changes. He knows this is what is right now. After some time, no, that is right. This is right. That tattva is right. This principle is right. I think that one is not right. This is right. These confusions and this difference in understanding and identifications are all happening because of the distorted status of the mind, which is not in a position to function according to the prajna, according to the consciousness, according to the nishkama karma. When it is attracted by the sakama karma, what happens? This prajna that is to be applied on that will get deviated because there this sakama and nishkama takes place. How this also takes place, you can call it as this also is prajna. The sakama karma and nishkama karma. When too much of impression on you on the sakama karma takes place, this prajna will help you to do sakama karma. The same energy will make the water into ice, and the same energy will make the water into steel. Both are the temperature, what we call it as temperature, what we call it as energy. The same way the prajna will take care. How to organize this prajna then? If he is a very prime controller of that, how to catch hold of this prajna in me, and how can I develop this prajna? How this prajna is there? That's why I said from prajna only the Chaitanya comes. When the nishkama karma takes place, that's why Purusha is Purusha Chaitanyam. That's called the Ishvara Chaitanyam, we call it. Ishvara, who doesn't have any sakama karma. There is no function of the sakama karma as far as the Ishvara is concerned. So the Prakriti that is functioning, why the Prakriti is functioning as it is since so many ages of millions of years, or so many yugas, same status. It has not changed, is it not? Why? Because of the prajna. Why? There is no difference in consciousness there. That consciousness which is, we call it as supreme, there is no sakama karma, there is only nishkama karma is there. So since the execution of constant nishkama karma is there, the prajna that is there, from the prajna the Chaitanya automatically produces. This Chaitanya is the one which is keeping the Prakriti as it is and makes the jada vastus of the Panchabhutas have the combination, as I told you, different combinations for different purposes, different ways and different means and different times, is all the function of this prajna in order to maintain, we call it as an ecological balance of the earth, or ecological balance. What is ecological balance? Explain me. Not to have storm or to have storm? Which is ecological balance? To have tsunami or not to have tsunami? To have floods or not to have floods? To have floods. Whenever there is destruction necessary, in order to keep up the balance, this has to take place. How does this take place? So whenever it goes beyond the Prakriti Niyama, we said, that means when it goes beyond the characteristics of the Prajna and Chaitanyam, the Prajna and Chaitanyam will bring it back to the consciousness once again, is why the Pralaya takes place. Ultimately, in all the 4 yugas, after the 4 yugas, the Pralaya takes place only to bring back the balance once again. Who brings it again? The same consciousness brings it. That's called the Prajna and Chaitanyam brings it. So all other than this Prajna and Chaitanyam, they are all Jadavastus. They are all created, they are all manifestation, they all can be destroyed, they all can be manifested. This manifestation and destruction keeps on happening. So long it is manifested, it can be destroyed. So the Sankalpa, when I explained about Sankalpa, it is a manifestation. Sankalpa is a manifestation. So since it is a manifestation, it can also be destroyed. How does the Sankalpa gets destroyed? how does the sankalpa gets destroyed? The sankalpa that is inserted into the normal flow of the thoughts, when that comes and transforms my thought into that sankalpa, the sankalpa is destroyed. It has become a function of me. It is no more known as the sankalpa. The rice before cooking is known as the grain, rice grain. After cooking, it is known as biryani, it is known as the cooked rice, it is known as red rice, it is known as yellow rice, it is known as ghee rice, it is known as lemon rice, it is known as curd rice. Rice, the original name, the sankalpa, is destroyed here. So anything that is manifested is destroyed. One is the destruction is not only damaging, So what is destruction? Destruction is that it transforms the shape and form of that particular thing into a different position. It's called destruction of the previous one. Alright? Yeah. It is not that what you immediately think of something destroying it, eliminating it. It's not eliminating. The forms and shapes keep changing. The changes of forms and shapes are absolutely necessary for keeping the ecological balance. That is why I said destruction is necessary. In order to keep the balance, what is called the balance? In order to keep the balance means the balance of the consciousness, Chittam, the balance of the prajna, balance of the Chaitanyam has to be there. So everything is in Chaitanyam. Since everything is in Chaitanyam, automatically a balance has to be brought. Since it is in Chaitanyam, not that because this is to be done, Chaitanyam is there. No. Chaitanyam is a process, is not produced. It is not manifested. Chaitanyam is not manifested. Prajna is not manifested. There happens. How? When one does continuous nishkama karma, when one goes into the dhyanam, when one identifies one with the Parabrahman, when one have that consciousness, prajna happens. When prajna happens, Chaitanyam happens. Chaitanyam is automatic. The glow is automatic. The projection is automatic. It is not projected. It is just happens. It's not a mechanical function. That means karma. It is not a karma. It happens. Since it happens, since it is constant from that Purusha, it is constant. There is no deviation from that because that is Ishvara. That's why he is above us. We call it Ishvara is above us. It's because we change every moment. 100,000 times we change. Is it not? He remains as it is for yugas. Forget about few seconds. When that happens, what happens? Prajna takes place. That prajna will lead you for Sradha in a different form. Then the Sradha comes. What happened? Mind has nothing else important to do. When mind doesn't have anything else as important to do, the mind becomes Shraddhavan on one, that which is to be done. It's called Shraddha. And this can happen only when you can attract the mind. If your mind is in the beauty of the flower, your Shraddha is on the flower. If your if your mind you're attracted on some in your clothes, your Shraddha will be on the cloth. Yes. So where the Shraddha goes. So depending upon that Shraddha goes. They are all temporary. Because that beauty which you think the beauty is, when the mind is concentrating on that, for some time you get fed up of it. Because it's a repetition of the Jadavastu which doesn't produce any jnanam out of it. So the mind gets fed up. Because mind is not deriving anything out of it, so the mind gets fed up. So it would like to change to something else which again gets attracted to. Thinking that I can stay here permanently. This I have talked long back when I was talking about the mind. The mind keeps on changing like this. So what happened to your Shraddha? Shraddha keeps shifting. That which keeps shifting, that which is not the nature, permanent nature, is not Shraddha. It is in the name of Shraddha only, is it not? It's not Shraddha. It's only concentration for some time. It is not Shraddha. Shraddha is a permanent factor. As I told you, it is not manifested. Here, this is manifested. Here what I am talking about, your attraction to the flower, attraction to the cloth, attraction to the food, attraction to XYZ, whatever it is, they are all manifested. Since it is manifested by the mind, which doesn't have a basis of knowledge and intelligence, it is tend to change. That which will have a basis of intelligence, prajna and jnanam in this, that will not change. Why the mind changes? Because it doesn't understand things based on the prajna, based on the jnanam. Yes, that's why the mind changes. Why Upanishad doesn't change? Why the Vedas doesn't change? Why the Vedic principles doesn't change? They don't change. They are there since the inception. And these Vedas and Upanishads they are Shrutis. Maharishis have not invented these principles. Maharishis have understood these principles from the prajna that is maintaining the prakriti. Prajna and the Chaitanyam that is maintaining the prakriti. From this he understood. Then inscribed it. He has not discovered it. Nobody has discovered this jnanam and principles. They are there in the, that's why it is known as existence. That is the importance of this. It is not based on my or yours emotion and ideas and ideologies and according to our flimsy mind that we have written something to make others understand. No. That's why it is incomplete. Everything is incomplete. That's why everything needs a lot of elaboration. Further exploration is necessary, and there is scope of exploration to that, to any extent for that matter. If you can travel into the prajna and into the Chaitanyam of the Bhagavan Ishvara, there is limitless travel that you can go through the jnanam and can reveal these explorations of it. That's why they are all in sutras. These sutras are there in the Prakriti and they are inscribed in the memory because of the Dhriti, Dharana, Dharmam and Sanatana Dharmam. He had the Shraddha and got the Jnanam. Shraddha Vandrapade. You got the process now? How the Maharshi got it? Why didn't you get it? This is the reason why it is. So that is what it is makes the prajna, is the one which is making us function. And there is a prakriti niyama. That is why there is no bhautika jivan. Everything is adhyatmika jivan only. Even though we call it as materialism and spiritualism, I always said this. Remember, from long inception I had been talking that there is only spiritualism. Everything is that. Everything is functions based on that prajna and chaitanyam. Without that prajna and chaitanyam, nothing will function. There is no question of if not or not. Suppose the prajna is not there. This question doesn't arise at all, because that question is absolutely a mudha prashna. Why? Because there is no place in this universe, there is no time in this universe. Kala is not there, place is not there when the Chaitanyam is not there. Because this universe is the Chaitanyam. So there is no question of if it is not there, what would happen to the universe? No, that question doesn't arise. It is there, that's all. Yes. It is something like asking if the sunshine is not there. It happens. It was keeping on happening. One sun goes, another sun will come. One gaseous atmosphere will go, it will create another round of helium around that, and again transmission takes place. It will keep on going. Chaitanya will always be there, prajna will always be there. They are. That's why it is known as Sanatana Dharma. So everything has to be associated to this Sanatana Dharma. This initiation takes place in us in the mana. This mana has got temporary because it has an activity like in human beings. Now animals cannot have this development of this Sradha in them. They are directly synchronized with the Dharma, Prakriti Dharma. It just functions according to Prakriti Dharma, that's all. It does neither it can violate nor it can follow. It just happens to them, that's all. But for us, it is because the mana is there. There is an element of attraction created by the mana for the purpose of diversification and acquirement of knowledge from that, to add with the prajna and execute it for the purpose of exhausting the karma phalas. In an animal there is no karma phala because it doesn't have a sakama karma. An animal doesn't do any sakama karma. A tree doesn't do a sakama karma. Flowers bloom, leaves fall down, and fruits come, fruits fall down, again it blooms, again it fruits, again it falls down. It's a Prakriti Niyama. Can it personally change it? No. Why? Because here the function has been added in a human, that the function of the Prakriti, according to that, we are executing certain karmas and karma phalas have taken place. For the purpose of experimental experiences, this happens. From these experimental experiences, one rises above the karma and karma phala, is how we become conscious about the nishkama karma, and we rise above the sakama karma and reaches the nishkama karma and rises above to the prajna and the chaitanya, and dissolve ourselves into the prajna and chaitanya. This dissolution process can be done only by the human, by his effort. So this small ideal change is there. As I told you, each molecule in the air has got its own freedom to rotate by itself for some time, but not against the voluminous atmospheric condition. But within the voluminous atmospheric condition, each and every particle in that keeps on moving, thinking that it is keeping on moving against the voluminous, is it not? You think about a dust. We see a dust flying, is it not? It has a particular pattern of flying. Another dust is there. it has another pattern of flying. Yes. Even though they have a different pattern of flying, they are all flying in this periphery, and they are all flying, and they are all having the same experience, and they are all having the same result at last. Is it not? But what is this just thinking? I am doing this twisting and turning, is it not? This freedom is what we call it as the freedom for a human individual. Do you understand what is the freedom now you got? So without this prajna, we cannot. Suppose it synchronizes itself through nishkama karma. It synchronizes itself with the prakriti niyama in the sanatana dharma. What will happen? It need not to function in order to fly. The course of direction will take automatically you to fly. Even otherwise you are flying with struggle. The struggle creates the karma phala. The other one, you are flying without struggle, takes you to the right destination. Because you are struggling, you may not reach the right destination. This not reaching the right destination is called rebirth. Because each and every molecule has its own function, so he thinks its own freedom, what will happen? He will go and hit against the wall. He was not supposed to, according to the Prakriti Niyama. But since he has acted himself, so he fell down. Now what happened? He has to rise above that. Again, another sweep has to take place and has to turn back the other way around and make that dust fly towards the destination. Got it? Are you getting it? This is how each and everything functions. So, Nishkam, this needs lot of jnana. Otherwise one can't do Nishkama karma. Nishkama bhakti, we talk about it. Oh. Nishkama karma and Nishkama bhakti. If that doesn't happen, your ideas, your knowledge, your memory, your storage of memory, your intelligence, your thoughts, they get diversified into hundreds of methodologies which will appear to be right to you. All will be right. Yes. The thief thinks that, you see, he is living in money. Since he has got money, he will not be caught. He can live in Arabia because he has got enough money. And he can do crime in India, or he can do crime in United States. But he can live there. He thinks the sea is wonderful. Is it not? You see how it is? But for a person who understands this is not the right way, what we think, what is the use of living like this? Is it that what is required? Is what we ask. Now you understand? So what happens? The mind, this is everybody's mind. It's not only that what I'm talking about, the different persons. This is everybody's mind. Wherever your mind gets attracted, you think that is right. After some time, your mind gets fed up because it is manifested by you. You get attracted by that. Sradha is not that. That's not Sradha. They are only infatuations or attractions, temporary attractions. That's all. They are, that infatuation is what? That without understanding, you get an attachment, you get an attraction towards something, and then you get fed up of it and then moves away. Because there is no basis for your attachment and attraction. There has to be a basis for your attraction and attachment. There has to be a basis for your attraction, then only the Shraddha can be, the Shraddha will automatically come. The other is that manifested by you. Oh, I like this satsang. I like that satsang. I like this principle of, we call that Hindu Tattva. Another said, I like Christianity. I like Islam. I like this. How many of them who are talking about it have gone through the complete knowledge of that, jnanam of it. At the end of it, what difference is there between all this? Then who are you to give a name for that? That is why Hindutva did not believe in strength of people. Hindutva believed in the principle. Everywhere it is Hindutva only. Why? Because this is the jnanam. It is the jnanam that is spread all over. Now you call yourself as so and so, so and so, that's the different thing. We also have what people, he says he is a Krishna Bhakta, he is a Vishnu Bhakta. Even Krishna Bhakta and Vishnu Bhakta are different. Names they have. What happened? These are all manifestations they have created in order to have attachment with it. They are all infatuations. This doesn't have a basis for attachment. This doesn't have a proper basis. What should be the proper basis? There should be absolute jnanam. Who can get that? Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Who can gain the Shraddha? Who has got prajna. Who can gain prajna? Nishkama karma, nishkama bhakti. Who can have nishkama karma? The one who is living in the prajna and the Chaitanyam, constantly having consciousness of it so that he can eliminate the karma balas also. This is how this can function. So the mind has to function. When the mind is diverted in many ways, when the mind is diverged in many ways, we think it is my capacity, it is his capacity and her capacity and this, that and all that. We talk all that. All the capacities are same. Everything is done by the prajna that is prevalent everywhere. Everything happens based on this Chaitanyam, which is prevalent everywhere. Without Chaitanyam, not even a grain of dust can function, can exist. Forget about function, can exist. So everything is that Chaitanyam, which is the projection from that Ishvara, who is constantly in the nishkama karma. Karma is keeping on happening. That's why the prakriti is maintained. And through that what happens? That prajna is the one and that Chaitanyam is the one which is maintaining the prakriti, and that maintaining the prakriti is known as Sanatana Dharmam, which doesn't create conflict to this Chaitanyam and prajna is called Sanatana Dharma. You understood? I always say no. Our dharma should be, Swadharma should be synchronizing the Sanatana Dharma, I always said. How is it? Our dharma, while executing, should not be conflicting to the prajna and Chaitanya, the Ishvara Tattva. In order to have that Ishvara Tattva, in order to have that, attain that non-controversial implementation of the Swadharma as the Sanatana Dharma, you have to have Nishkama Karma, then only Shraddha you will have. So the creation of the disciple and the Guru started. This is how the relationship of the Guru and Shishya began. When this is the Sanatana Dharma, when Shishya is in the Upasana, constantly in the vicinity and projection of the prajna and Chaitanyam, the infatuation and the temporary attractions and attachment of the mind towards those which are temporary can be identified in the light of the prajna and Chaitanyam. Mind decides to distract from the unwanted attractions and attachment which are manifestations of the mind and decides to what? Decides to, mind doesn't get attracted to have the light of the prajna, Chaitanyam. Mind could see that attraction and attachment on one side and the prajna, Chaitanyam on one side. So the mind distracts itself from the attractions and attachments and decides to
be with the Chaitanya.
Being prajna, sthita prajna.
That word is right, but what my question has to be answered. Mind gets distracted too and decides to see, the prajna is a result. Decides to, something has to be done. No, I told you that he got distracted from the attractions and attachment and infatuations and decides to
Renounce and go towards now.
keep quiet, do nothing. That's why I said, what it will do? Nothing. Because for him to get into the prajna or get into something or sthita prajna is not an action of the mind. Mind is no more there. So long the attachment and attractions are there, the function of the mind is there. His function as a mind, we called him mind only because he had these qualities. The moment these qualities are relieved from him, he decided to do that. What happens? Silence. He doesn't do anything, is how it is known as sthita prajna. Who becomes sthita in the prajna? Who? Mind has become sthita in the prajna, sthira in the prajna. When he has become sthira in the prajna, as I earlier told you, when the one changes destruction, as I told you. So mind changes into prajna, sthita prajna. Where is the mind? Mind is not there. What is left? Prajna is left. Chaitanyam is left. Prajna is there. There is no mind because it has changed the shape and form depending upon the activity. Even though we call something as mind, that everything is identified because of its actions, its karma. An engineer is also a human being, a doctor is also a human being. He too has got 2 eyes and 2 legs and 2 hands, and the other one also got the same thing. But we call one as an engineer, another is based on its profession. Same way, we call the mana because of its swabhava, its qualities. When that swabhava is no more there, is it a mind? It's no more known as mind. Sthita prajna. In prajna, sthita. So this sthita prajna has to take place. Is the principle. Okay. This has to be understood very clearly before going further, because we are going for dhyanam. Is why we have to understand all this, why I am saying all these things. So what happens? This careful, as I told you, you have to understand, not get your ego acted on that I am not doing anything. It is the prajna that makes it happen. Now, orienting that prajna to make it function in the right way, my mind has to get distracted from the attachments and attractions and unwanted things. Then only sthita prajna can take place. Otherwise, prajna will be there, mind will be there, sthirata will not be there. when the mind gets into prajna, then only the sthita prajna can take place. So long the mind is attracted or occupied and preoccupied with attraction and attachment and distraction and detachment, or bifurcations and classifications and liking, disliking, right, wrong, do, don't do, mind is constantly occupied in that. When mind is constantly occupied, where can the prajna be sthirata there, sthita there? How can you do the dhyanam also? Where will the dhyanam, what dhyanam you will do? On which will you do the dhyanam? For some time on this, for some time on that, for some time on this, and for some time on that. Because the mind keeps on changing its taste, its wishes, its attachments. That's why we call it as anityam. They are not nityam. They are not constant. We have to reach to a constant factor. This is the sannyasa. That's why sannyasa has to be like that. Sannyasa is a tamo guna. Sannyasa is a tamo guna, sleep, like that. See, where there are no activities by the individual. When the karma trigunas are there, no? Neither sato, rajo, tamo, none of these gunas are there, is by tamo guna. In tamo guna, he doesn't function. Neither he is a sato guni, nor he is wishing good to anybody, nor is a rajo guni, he is not acquiring anything. In sato, in tamo guna, constant sthita prajna. No actions are being done. Only after that, only then, no, he becomes evolved and things like that. Then things start, then the prajna, then also he doesn't do it. This prajna and Chaitanyam will start doing it. This is how the Guru Shishya Samparka has happened. When the Shishya is constantly in the light of that prajna and Chaitanya, he slowly gets distracted to those inferior infatuations, inferior qualities, which are very temporary in nature, because in this light the mind can see they are all temporary. They are all unnecessarily occupying me and preoccupying me, making me a fool of it. You see, to take more and more janmas, he is making me do that. So this identification, the one who is at the upasak, he identifies. When he identifies, he slowly gets merged with the prajna and the Chaitanyam of the Guru. Prajna and Chaitanya, who is a Guru? Embodiment of the jnana, the prajna and Chaitanya. Ishvara Sankalpam it is. That's Ishvara Sankalpam. So when the Ishvara Sankalpa is inserted into it, automatically what happens? Sradha comes. Otherwise, Sradha will not come. Shraddhavan only labhate jnanam. Otherwise, what will happen? Guru ko, just telling an example, don't take it otherwise. Guru ko दूध पिलाया, ग्लास लेके गया, दूध लीजिए, श्रद्धा, बड़ी श्रद्धा. While the Guru is drinking milk, what to do next? What can I do? Why not I go for a movie after this, do this over? He's there, standing there, no? Thoughts, no? He's not doing, it's okay, not disturbing anything. What happened? Shraddha is diverted. Now, can you call it as Shraddha? You understood what I'm saying? Why it is happening? Mind is attracted and attached to it. He thinks that is more important than this. Now the mind has to learn the importance for taking him towards the prajna and jnanam. This is important in my life. This priority has to be identified and imposed on the mana, so that the mind doesn't function based on the function of the indriyas or attractions and attachment. Then only this Chaitanyam, we can be, then only that particular soul or that particular Atma can really feel the Ananda of that prajna and Chaitanyam. The moment once he gets the taste of that prajna and Chaitanyam, then he will never go. Because that is supreme. Then he will never go. He has to get, so one's trial is that to get that once. That's why they say it happens in a fraction of a second, they say. Why? That all. Once it has happened, there is no going back. Then it is merging. Finished. There won't be time to think that how does it feel like. Oh, not like that, no? An interview. After getting prajna, Chaitanyam, how do you feel now? Very nice, as if having had a very good biryani. More or less like that. No. We would have, because the status has become different. There cannot be an explanation to that. This is how it has to take place. Is called this intelligence. This is who is making you think, who is making you store, who is making you memorize, retain. They are all prajna is the one which is making it. Bhagavat prajna, that's not an ordinary intelligence of understanding the meaning of a word or understanding a language or speaking a language with efficiency or executing a karma with efficiency or doing a trade with efficiency or doing a job, work with expertise is not intelligence. What I am meaning here, that's a different intelligence in the Bhaudika. This is what do you mean by here, Chittam? That understanding and the retention of the understanding, the memory. See? Those which are temporary we can forget. Brahma Sakshatkaram, once you take, have you ever heard that he has forgotten the Parabrahma Sakshatkaram? He has forgotten what he has studied. Fine. So Bhagavan says, this is called the intelligence. So don't have that ahankara. Once you release, it helps you to release your ahankara. I. This is where the principally changing everything. Recently I heard, I won't name anybody because I keep on, something or other comes, and sometimes in the morning I switch channels and see some Swamiji is talking and all that sometimes. So one person was saying that, hey, one person asked, a question was given, they read the question, they asked that is, Guruji, I wish that you be my Guru in the next Janma also. That's what he said. Okay, there are so many explanations for that. But his answer was that, suppose I am not available, what will you do? I may not be available, he says. No? So, things like that. So what I am trying to tell you is that there are various directions the mind gets diverged. He has identified a Guru as the shape and form. It's an embodiment of the Brahman, embodiment of the Jnanam. In every Janma we will get the Guru. In every Janma we will get the same Guru, if you ask me. Why? Because I don't have to think about it now. I can just tell you without thinking. Why? Because when I am saying that the Guru is an embodiment of Jnanam, where is the question of Guru not being there? In every Janma it will be there, is it not? The shape and form may be different. That's all. Jnanam is always there. He will be there. That Jnanam, that prajna, who already knows how much you have learned. See, who understand, this is why we say that Guru knows how much, at what level the Shishya has reached. How does he know? It's not magic. It is a prajna that is prevalent. Since Guru is the embodiment of Jnanam, as a tapasvi or a jnani, he is one with the prajna and the jnanam. So when he is one with the prajna and jnanam, which, who, where, and which level, it's not an effort. It is just seen, is it not? That's all. And he begins from there. So it has become the same Guru. When you look at it, see. Even the disciple is also, it's not the same disciple if you say that. If you say the same Guru, if it is the same disciple, does the disciple look like same? No. It's also different, no? How do we identify? It is again the prajna in that disciple. So that disciple which has got that prajna, that jnanam up to that level, will always be linked with that, like the planetary, that attraction, principle of attraction, magnetic principle of attraction. This all will revolve around that in order to progress oneself. Okay. Now why did I say this? So the prajna, Sradha has to be created. It's not that just being attentive. It's not Sradha. Even though attentiveness is a very big word, it's not a small word. To be attentive means constantly attending something else other than me is called attentive. Is it not? Constantly attending something else other than me is called attentive. And only one, then only attentive. So that is attentiveness. This is called Shraddha. So when that Shraddha is there, then only Jnana Prapti will come. Why? Because the mind, why this decision has taken place? When the Shraddha is there, the mind is dissolved into this prajna and chetana, Chaitanyam of the Guru. So automatically what happens? The mind is distracted from all other its sancheda, agami and prarabdha karmas. So it is under the process of the nishkama karma where it is totally silent and is accommodating the jnana and the prajna. So automatically the jnana, he becomes the jnana. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam, it comes. So this is how the Shraddha has to be received. So it is not only a small thing. You have to have the total attention. That means the mind, along with the mind, whatever is there in the mind, along with the mind, anything that is connected with the mind has to be dedicated towards that. Then only the Shraddha will come. Otherwise, it is not Shraddha, it is only some sort of temporary concentration. Now, after some time, it gets shifted. Because once it is shifted, then what happens? There is stthita prajna is not there. Constant prajna, constantly being in the prajna should be the sthita prajna. When that constancy is not there, sthirata will not be there. When it is asthira, we cannot call it as Shraddha, we cannot call it as prajna. So Bhagavan says that, hey Narada, meditate on that Chittam, that Dhyan, that Dharana, things like that. That's why the Maharishis wanted always that the human, Manushya, should be above everything. Even though the Maharishis could identify the yantras, machines, in their time also, they did not give importance to machines. Why? Because when the machines would give importance to machines would take over the man, like today. In many parts of the world, machines have taken over the men. Their intelligence will no more be there. Only machine will function. You use a calculator, you don't know how to multiply mentally. If no calculator, you cannot calculate 2 plus 2. It's not possible. Machine. So you are taken over by the machine. It will be, that's why mechanical life. In mechanical life, there is no emotion, there is no attachment, there is no attraction in mechanical life, and there is no distraction, detachment, and there is no silence, and there is no Chaitanyam and prajna. There is no dharmam, swadharmam, and adharmam, and sanatana dharmam. When nothing of these are there, what you will become? Neither an animal nor a human. It becomes a machine who would be making you dance according to his tunes. Not even an animal. You become inferior to the animal also, because animals are, at least they are based on the Prapanja Chaitanyam. So they didn't want that machines should take over the human. Human should take over the machines, is why the Maharshis and Tapasvis, who could make the planes, who could make everything, whatever you are seeing today, much better than this, they could make it. They did not give this knowledge, jnanam, to transmit it into the human being, because the human being has to do the prayatna. The human being has to do the prayatna, which is known as yatnam in Sanskrit, and in the other things they call it as yatna, purusha yatna they call it. Manushya yatna, that means exercising his power of intelligence and chittam has to be done so that he can evolve himself into that Parabrahman. That can be done only when he does the yatna. From the yatna, the nama yantra has come. Why? Because yatnam is that what you do. When you do make something else do that yatnam for you, the yatnam which you are supposed to do, you are making something else to do, is called yantra. The calculation that what you are supposed to do, you are making the calculator do it, which you are supposed to do. Okay? So what happened? That becomes the yantra. Your yatna has been transmitted there. Now where will you progress? Even though you have created that. What happened? By creating that, your yatna has become idle, so your progress has become stagnant. You have become a machine man, that's all. That is why Bharata and Maharishis and Tapasvis, they did not give importance much to the yantravatkarana. It's known as yantravatkarana. That means machine world. Yantravatkarana, changing into the machine. So yatna, yantra. Okay, so that is why this has been done according to that, so that the man can create the machine when it is necessary, additional facilities, but he has to do the yatna, prayatna, so that his chittam and his prajna, his chaitanyam can merge with the Parabrahman, with the Sanatana Dharma, and ultimately to the Purusha, Prakriti and Purusha. This can be done only by that. Is why the Maharishis gave importance to it. It is great, when you look at it, it's a great thing that a generation, now you imagine the machine's world can never progress spiritually. A machine cannot make you meditate. Even though you put a pyramid, that's why I don't teach you all those things. What do? We said traditional meditation. I just put a word traditional. Tradition in the sense that which is existing. There is a pyramid already in the Chaitanyam. When there is a Chaitanyam, do I require a medium in between Chaitanyam and me? You understood what I am trying to tell you? Dhyanam should be such, just by making my mind silent to all those attractions, nishkama karma, nishkama bhakti, Sradha, bhakti, upasana, nididhyasana. There is no mechanization required for that. If I do a mechanization, if I do a practice of meditation through a mechanical process, that mechanical process has to be there always with you. You have to, wherever you go, you have to carry that with you, Otherwise what happened? I cannot do meditation. Have you heard people? I have seen people. Those days it was a tape recorder. We also have used it now. But today it has become ancient. A tape recorder has to be there. Why? Because that meditational music is there. Without that, I cannot meditate. See? So he has to keep it ring. Some say, and he is meditating. The moment he stops, meditation gone. And Bhagavan is there. We don't require, what I jokingly said, what I mean to say, people who are practicing with support system of any of these mechanical system, anything is called that yatna, that what you are supposed to do when you make something else make you do is that yantravat karana, that's called mechanical. You will not attain. How can you attain? It's very I don't think it's the proposition is very clear. How can you attain that? It is it's not possible. It's why I want you to do the natural way of meditation. Is why my intention of not making any assistance by any of those things, except the asana should be comfortable. That's all. That in any way, olden days also they have spread all those kush grass and all that, made their asana comfortable so that physically we are not very uncomfortable, so this makes it okay. Other than that, there should be no aid. We should not get acquainted with that assistance of any of those things. This is called mechanism. That's why tapasvis and maharishis wanted the human being to do the yatna in himself and promote himself into that level of the prajna and chaitanyam, into that level of the sanatana dharma, so that your dharma and sanatana dharma becomes one, so that your prajna and the prajna, which is Ishvara Chaitanyam, becomes one. So the sthita prajna sthiti you attain, so you gain the jnanam by that. Because of the Sradha, you gain the jnanam. Once the jnanam is there, once the light is switched on, everything can be seen. And once the jnanam is there, everything can be seen through the jnanam. It is light. As the light is on, everything that is there we can see, visualize and see and study. Same thing when the jnanam is there. Everything in this universe, everything beyond and before and all that, all the kalas, all the yugas, all everything can be seen and understood, is what is called jnana. The purpose of our life is that. The purpose of our life is to reach that stage, is why the dependency should be on that, not on those small tricks in between which diverts you and diverges you and makes you get stuck with those ideas and ideologies. Bhagavan says, meditate on that Chittam, intelligence, and that permanency, for the attainment of the permanency, not for attainment of the temporary pleasures, temporary dhyanam, temporary jnanam, temporary chittam, anityam. No, nityavastha, always the same, in the anandavastha. There cannot be any difference in that. There should not be any deviation and difference. Deviation and differences take place only when things are attracted to various things. Yes? That's how deviations and differences takes place. When the deviations and differences are not there, it is the same. In Himalayas, the temperature is the same always, so the formation of the ice remains as it is. If there is a deviation and a difference in the temperature, the ice would melt into water. Stthita. No? Then only we can retain that position. So Bhagavan says, we have to retain that position of that sthita prajna, so that we can be in the Satya Yuga, where gunatita. So Sanat Kumara, Maharshi Sanat Kumara told Devrishi Narada. Very respectful person. We have to give him great regards and respects. He is not an ordinary person. Trikalatjnani he is also. So Devrishi, hey Devrishi, you have to do dhyanam, you have to meditate on that Chittam which makes you with the prajna and the Chaitanyam. You understood now? Not Chittam is just like that. So, as usual, last chapter also I told what is next. So, he said, the next is Dhyanam, he said. Dhyanam vavachitat bhuyo dhyayadiva prithvi dhyayadiva antariksham dhyayadiva dhyayanti vapo dhyayantiva parvata dhyayantiva deva manusyasta smadhya iha manushyanam manam prapnuvanti ध्यानापादांशाः इवैव ते भवन्त्यथ योऽल्प्राः कलहिनः पिशुना अपवादिनस्ते यथः ये प्रभो ध्यानापादांशा इवैव ते भवन्ति ध्यानमुपास्व स्वेति ध्यानं वावचित्ताद् भूयो. About the Chittam Dhyanam. Why? We are coming to that. Dhyanam is greater than the Chittam intelligence, that what we spoke just now. We said which is the highest. Now we are going higher. Above the Chittam is that, above the power of memory, above that, Chittam, above that intelligence, above all those activities are Dhyanam. Meditation or dhyanam or being in one avastha is called dhyanam. not closing the eyes. Closing eyes is one of the activities we have to do, so that diversion should not be there for the mind. So Chittat Bhuyo. Dhyanam is about the Chittam. Dhyayativa Prithvi. Look at the Prithvi. It's giving examples of them. Who else he can give example? We cannot say that, look that Rajendra Sharma who is living in such and such house. We cannot give that example, no. Because nobody is there like that. No. Who can have this example? So he has to give only this. Dhyayantiva Prithvi. Prithvi functions exactly as it is, as it had been working for a number of years. It is in the dhyana avastha. That means the avastha, you be in the same status, is called dhyana. That's what I said. Same status. See, it's dhyana avastha. Prithvi doesn't get bored of being in that, rotating on its own axis, in both the axes, changing the days and months and years, year after year. You celebrate New Year, you celebrate new birthday, you celebrate death anniversary. But for Prithvi, how many years, how many millions of years, how many yugas, without any problem, without any boredom, no New Year resolution. This year I will rotate the other way around. No. We got resolutions, no? Resolutions are made to break. Somebody says, smokers will always say that, no? This year, New Year resolution, I will not smoke. Okay. The new year is only on 1st. 2nd is already old. You can smoke. It's a new, no? 2nd means it has become old. When you buy a new cloth, when it is new. First time you wear, it is new. After that, this I bought it yesterday, you see. It's already old, So resolution also goes along with the new. Prithvi doesn't do that, no. Prithvi has got constant meditation. It doesn't get bored. Let me put it as personify earth as Bhumi Devi. Okay. Devi doesn't get bored. It doesn't get fed up. Then only the question of changing is there now. Either one has to get bored, one has to change, or one has to bring improvement. It is deteriorated condition, it has to bring improvement. Then only the changes have to be done. None of this, because this is this way only. It has to function throughout. Then only all the virtues can be brought only this way. All the events can be produced only like this for thousands of years like this. There is no other way. There is no change. Why? Because the mind doesn't get attracted to smaller inhibitions, smaller thoughts, smaller attractions, smaller attachment, personal, swarthata, personal interests. They don't get attracted to any of that. Because of the swarthata only the mind gets attracted to many things. Here in Bhumi, the swartha bhava is not there. What is swartha bhava? For Bhumi Devi, nothing. So, it always is in the ananda status. When it is in the ananda status, keeps on moving in the same way. It doesn't get bored. When will it get bored? When the anandam comes down, then only it can get bored. When it doesn't come down, then where is the question of boredom? So, let's see. Just giving some silly examples, of course. But just to make you understand that why it doesn't get deteriorated, why it doesn't change its status. For changing a status, there has to be a reason. Yes. The reason has to be attraction to something better than that what is doing now. Yes. What Bhumi can do better than that what is doing now? Tell me, can it become the sun? Let me become the sun, then what will happen in your case? In your case, there will be no more sun, because finished, burned. When you get now this has to be compared with us. When, this is what I explained you some time back in the introduction. When you do not have any other attraction, any other better attraction to do things, what happens? You are in the status of Ananda. This Ananda will get reduced only when you find something better than this. When the mana becomes not getting attracted to any of these swartha, bhava, bhautika, materialistic, bhautika, what is that? Vastus, sadhana, vastu. It gets dissolved into the prajna jnanam, where it is in the ananda avastha, where it is getting dissolved into the parabrahma sakshatkaram, where a constant ananda is there, where is the attraction greater than that? The mind doesn't find. When the mind doesn't find any greater attraction than this is what I have explained. I had been talking to you last 1 hour only on this. That the mind should not get attracted to those temporary infatuations or attractions and attachment or those which are temporary pleasures. When it doesn't give any importance to that, what happens? It becomes silent. Then the presence of the prajna and jnanam and chaitanyam is felt, and it is in the status of ananda, where it is not there to explain, I was bad, now I am good. He is no more there. His position has been transformed. When he is transformed, where is the question of getting attraction or attachment is called? That stage of coming to that prakriya is known as dhyanam. Being in that stthita prajna is dhyanam. Not attached to any of these, because they are all not just like that. Not just, I have to do the renunciation, otherwise I will not get the result of dhyanam. Finished. It's no more dhyanam. You are attached to renunciation only. You will be attached to renunciation. When you are attached to renunciation, it is not dhyanam. Even though dhyanam has got another meaning, that you focus on something and then be concentrating only on one, so that you don't get distracted by any other thing, and merge with that what you see is dhyanam, is also dhyanam. But on which should you concentrate also has to be answered. Not that, look at some metal gold thing in front of you and do dhyanam on that. No. Why? Because the principle of dhyanam is that you are supposed to take the mind into the tranquility. It's called the status of tranquility. Silence means tranquility. Tranquil means what? Tranquility is not just silence, What is the status of tranquility? Tranquility is the status that whatever comes and attracts you, it doesn't get attracted. It's called the status of tranquility, from where the name tranquilizer has come. What's a tranquilizer? You will know nothing. Finished. Tranquilizer. What is a tranquilizer? That's something which injects you, you become tranquil. Means tranquilization takes place. Nothing is known. Nothing can attract you. Nothing can change you. Tranquilized. Is it not? Tranquility of the mind is that from where it began. Languages come from that. That's how tranquility has come. Tranquility of the mana. Tranquility of the mana means what? It is not an injection provided by that. Tranquility of the mind is that whatever comes in front of that, it doesn't get attracted. Not that it doesn't see. It sees. Not like a tranquilizer injected, you are not aware of it at all. No. Here, the mind is fully conscious, fully aware, fully seeing, but always with the prajna and Chaitanyam. When it is with all the prajna and Chaitanyam, it sees everything through the Chaitanya, so he sees that everything is inferior to me. Tranquil mind. Yes? That's called tranquility. Tranquil mind. Be in that. That's called stthita prajna. Otherwise, stthita will not come. The tranquilization has to take place. The tranquilization has to take place. Then only sthita prajna status can be brought in. Tranquil status. You should not get attached or attracted to that. Everything is like Tapasvi, Mahajnani. For him, everything is known. How can you bring that tranquil status? Only a jnani can come to that tranquil status. Not. Otherwise, what happened? Oh, there is something new. Huh? Mind will say, there something new has come, let me look into it. Tranquility is gone. You become aware of it. You become attached to that, But a jnani, when the prajna comes, jnanam comes, when he sees everything through that light of jnanam, he knows everything. There is nothing which is not known to him. Then he reaches the status of the tranquility of the mind. The mind is no more influenced by any of the thing to get attracted. Let me put it that way. Otherwise it's an influencing, no? Nothing can be influenced for the mind to turn into, from the silence, from the tranquility, from the attachment of the prajna and jnanam. It cannot die, it cannot attract it, it cannot, so it doesn't get diverted. Then what happens? The true jnanam is revealed. Otherwise what happens? The mind will keep, even in spirituality what happens? Oh, that jnanam is better. Kundalini Jagaran is better. This jnana, that satsang is better. This satsang is better. That talk is better. This talk is better. That book is better. This tattva is better. Each book you find differences, as we said here. Narada explained to Devrishi Narada explained to Bhagavan Sanat Kumara that Rigveda, Yajurveda, Tamaveda, this Atharvana Veda, and the Samhitas, and the Upanishads, and the Vidya Samhitas. After that, you see, Jyotisha Vidya, Dhanur Vidya. This, it will become like that. What happened? So many knowledges. Tranquility has not come then. Tranquility is it. All the jnanam, everything is a jnanam. This identification has to come. So what happened? This, they are all unwanted bifurcations to the mind. Ekagra chitta jnanam you will attain. To that embodiment of the jnanam, ekagrita, absolute samarpana, surrender, has to be there. This should come, the Sradha will come from inside. Otherwise what happened? Mind gets distracted. Oh, that looks better. This is appreciable. That is appreciable. This is also appreciable. That is also appreciable. Mind gets confused. Because crowded mind, I talked about the confused and crowded mind. A crowded mind cannot select which one to be right is not. In a big crowd, how can you identify an individual? To locate an individual, it is difficult. Same way, in a crowded mind, confused mind of yours, how can you find out which is the prajna, which is the jnanam? It's not possible. So, Prithvi, dhyayativa Prithvi. Like Prithvi is doing the dhyanam, nishkama karma it is doing, is it not? Keep on doing it, not expecting any of it. You have never done. Only sometimes when you make a new building, when you hurt the bhumi, you do bhumi puja. What? Half laddu, out of that 1/4 you yourself will eat. Half laddu, little water and little tulsi, some mantras and some unwanted things will be put into that. The good laddu you will eat. Bhumi puja ho gaya. This is all what you do. How much of puja we do? Whereas Bhumi is doing the nishkama karma, taking the whole load of this world, whole load of all these atrocities, whole load of all these things when you compare, when you look into that way of it. What happens? No karma phalas are expected, no expectations, nishkama karma, nishkama bhakti, nishkama seva bhavana, like a mother. No expectation from you that you should do Bhumi Puja. Whether you stand on me or whether you make a building and stand on me, doesn't make any difference to me. That sort of attitude, see, that's called the Nishkama Bhavana, where no importance to those, not getting attracted to whether you will do something for me or not. So, Nishkama Bhavana. That Nishkama Bhavana will only bring you the true Dhyanam. Otherwise, Dhyanam will get distracted. Otherwise, your Dhyanam also will be based on Sakama Karma, Sakama Bhakti, Sakama Dhyanam. Dhyanam for a particular cause, for a particular purpose. That's why Asuras, when they do tapasya, they do this Sakama Dhyanam. I should become Trilokapati. Invariably, all Asuras, I think, tell the same word, I think, no? I should become Trilokapati. No human, no animal, no half human, because after the Narasimham, these people have become more intelligent. No half human, half animal also should not kill me. These are the vara they will ask for. What is that? Sakama Dhyanam. There should be one on which our Dhyanam should be there, so that our purpose is that the total transformation to the prajna, jnanam, prapancha chaitanyam, parabrahma chaitanyam, and that sanatana dharmam incorporated in the prakriti through which we travel towards that absolute daya, dakshinya, karuna, jnana, prakriti, that Purusha. Attainment of that is our purpose. Nothing. This is our purpose. We have to walk through this path. One day or other. Depends who and when they will and they can, they should. Depends. Om Shanti. Further we will talk. We have only Prithvi Dhyanam has come. Like that, many others. Like this Dhyanam we will talk about. Now you have got the prologue of Dhyanam. Basis you understood. Why we should do Dhyanam. That's why I said that unless the Dhyanam is there, Dhyanam doing just is of no use. I should know what Dhyanam am I supposed to do. Why should I do? How should I do? Which is the direction? No? This is where Your upasana is necessary. This is called, your attention is only on that. What happened? When your attention is only on these things, what happened? You are in the upasana. Then you are closer to that prajna and the Chaitanyam. Constantly you are seeing only this. You are wanting only this, even though it's a want. But what happens? That want, which makes you isolated from all other wants and make you absolute in the status of Ananda. That jitnyasa there has got an Ananda in it. In that jitnyasa there is an Ananda. In that expectation there is an Ananda. In that expectation of to be with the Parabrahman, there is an Ananda. But where is it in the expectation of buying a material, what Ananda we have? Look at the difference between these two. This Ananda is there. That acquirement of this Ananda is called that enlightenment, that light. Through that light, when I see this, what happened? This jitnyasa will be there. To be knowing, how should I do dhyanam? Where do I do dhyanam? What should I be doing dhyanam on? And what is dhyanam? These you get completely involved in. Automatically what happens? The revelation takes place. You are attained, then through that, even those questions will make you merge with that prajna and the Chaitanyam of the Parabrahman or the embodiment of the Jnanam. That's all. Your effort is not at all there. It is not a karma to acquire Jnanam. Learn that. Please understand that. It is not a karma. It is a way of it. That's all. It just happens. Jnanam comes. Jnanam is there. You attain that status. That's all. In whatever you try because of learning, studying, by-hearting and remembering, it's not jnana. This is what we are doing. This is why dhyanam has been prescribed. Tapasya. Meditation. Okay, here we call it as meditation because something more about the dhyanam comes. So we'll do that. Okay. Next, we'll take that same, which is at section 6, that is 7, 6, 1 and 2.